At 10,000 feet, a teenage girl was ripped from a plane, still strapped to her seat. A blinding flash tears through the cabin. Lightning explodes across the wing. Metal splits. People scream, but the sound is swallowed instantly by roaring wind. The aircraft disintegrates mid-air. She is falling, alone, no parachute, no control, through a violent storm, spinning, weightless, plummeting into the endless green darkness of the Amazon rainforest. And then silence. Because what happened after she hit the ground is even more unbelievable. Her name is Juliane Koepcke, 17 years old, a quiet girl with sharp instincts, shaped not by cities, but by the wild rhythms of the Amazon rainforest. It's December 24th, 1971. Christmas Eve. She sits beside her mother, Maria Koepcke, on inside a commercial aircraft, cutting through the skies of Peru. Their destination is home, where her father is waiting. A holiday reunion. Nothing unusual, nothing alarming, at least, not yet. Juliane presses her face lightly against the window. Below her, the rainforest stretches endlessly, a sea of green broken only by winding rivers that reflect the fading daylight. She's seen it 1,000 times before, but today feels different. The clouds ahead are rising, tall, dark and towering. Inside the cabin, the mood begins to shift. Conversations soften, a few passengers glance toward the windows. The light outside dims unnaturally fast. The plane enters the storm. Turbulence hits. At first, it's subtle, a gentle shake, then another. Then the aircraft drops suddenly, just a few feet, but enough to send a ripple of tension through every seat. A baby cries. Someone laughs nervously. The seatbelt sign flickers on. Juliane tightens her grip on the armrest. She's flown before, many times, but she remembers something her father once said, calm, almost casual, but firm enough to stay with her. He had warned her about this airline, Lanza. He didn't trust its safety record, didn't like the risks. At the time, it felt like overprotective concern. Now, inside a shaking aircraft surrounded by lightning, it feels like something else entirely. Outside, the storm closes in. Lightning flashes, closer now, not distant, not decorative, immediate, violent. The cabin lights flicker. The plane jolts again, harder this time. Overhead, compartments rattle. A tray falls somewhere behind her. Then comes the sound. A deep, cracking noise from the wing. Not loud enough to panic the entire cabin, but enough for Juliane to notice. And in that moment, without fully understanding why, she feels it. Something is wrong. Something irreversible has already begun. Her mother turns to her, calm but alert. Their eyes meet, no words, just a silent exchange. Right before the sky explodes, the storm is no longer around them. They are inside it. The aircraft shudders violently as it pushes deeper into the towering clouds. Rain lashes against the fuselage like gravel. Lightning flashes so close it turns the cabin white for a split second, over and over again. The turbulence escalates, not the kind that rattles nerves, the kind that takes control. The plane drops, hard. Gasps fill the cabin. A scream breaks out from the back. Overhead, bins burst open, spilling luggage into the aisle. Or the air pressure shifts. The engines strain against the chaos outside. Juliane grips her seat. Her heart is pounding now, not from fear alone, but from instinct. Something is wrong. Then, a flash, not outside, inside. A bolt of lightning strikes the aircraft. Direct hit. For a fraction of a second, everything freezes in bright, blinding white, and then, explosion. A deafening crack rips through the plane. The right wing ignites instantly, fire tearing backward into the fuel tank. The aircraft lurches violently to one side. Passengers are thrown against their restraints. Some aren't restrained at all. Screaming fills the cabin, raw, uncontrollable, rising above the roar of the storm. The oxygen masks never deploy. There's no warning, no announcement, no time to process. The plane begins to come apart. Metal tears like paper. And the wing separates. The cabin fractures. Rows of seats twist under pressure as the fuselage splits open to the sky. Wind explodes inward, ripping through everything in its path. And then, the section of the cabin she is in tears free. There is no floor beneath her anymore, no ceiling above, just sky. She is pulled out, still strapped to her seat, ripped from the aircraft and hurled into open air at thousands of feet. The storm engulfs her instantly. Wind roars past at unbearable speed. Rain lashes her face, and her body spins uncontrollably as the seat tumbles end over end. The plane is gone. There is no structure, no reference, no direction, only sky and falling. The rainforest below is barely visible through the storm, just a dark, endless mass waiting beneath her. Her mind struggles to keep up. This isn't something a human brain is built to understand. One moment she is seated on a flight beside her mother. The next, she is alone in the sky, still conscious, still strapped in, falling from over 10,000 feet. The noise is overwhelming. Wind, thunder, the distant tearing of metal somewhere above her. Everything is chaos, movement, violence, and then everything goes silent. Not because the storm has stopped, but because her mind can no longer process what's happening. The jungle rises up beneath her, closer now, faster, branches reaching upward like a living net, and then impact. Juliane Koepcke is no longer inside a plane. She is part of the wreckage, strapped to a row of seats. The storm continues to rage around her, but now it feels distant, distorted. Darkness takes over instantly. Silence, stillness. The jungle closes around her. Time passes, but she has no sense of it. Minutes, hours, maybe longer. Then, a flicker. Consciousness returns slowly. Sound comes first. A distant hum. No, not distant. Constant. Insects. Hundreds, thousands of them. Then heat. Heavy. Suffocating. The air presses against her skin. Her eyes begin to open, but only one responds. The other is swollen shut. Blurred vision. Light filtering through layers of green above her. She tries to move. Pain shoots through her body instantly. Her collarbone burns. Her limbs feel heavy, disoriented, confused. She struggles to understand what she's seeing, where she is, how she got here. Then memory hits, sudden and sharp. The plane, the explosion, the fall, and the realization settles in. She is on the ground, alive, but something feels wrong, very wrong. She turns her head, slowly, forcing her vision to focus through the blur. No wreckage, no bodies, no voices, no sign of the aircraft at all. Just endless jungle in every direction. Thick, unbroken. Silent, except for the sound of insects and distant wildlife. She calls out, weak at first, then louder, no answer, only the forest responding with its own indifferent noise. And that's when the truth begins to form, cold, undeniable. She wasn't just a survivor. She was completely alone. For a moment, she doesn't move. She can't. Her body feels distant, disconnected, like it belongs to someone else, and she tries to sit up. Pain explodes through her shoulder. Her collarbone is broken. She gasps, collapsing back onto the damp forest floor. Her arms are scratched and torn, streaked with dried blood. Deep cuts run along her legs. Bruises are already forming beneath her skin. Her head throbs, heavy, disoriented, a concussion. She turns slightly, forcing herself to look around. No sign that anyone else survived the fall from the sky. Just forest, endless, suffocating forest. The Amazon rainforest stretches in every direction, dense, tangled, alive. Towering trees block out most of the sunlight. Thick vines hang like ropes. The ground is uneven, covered in leaves, roots, and decay. It's not quiet, it only feels that way, because the sounds never stop. Buzzing, clicking, distant calls echoing through the trees. Life is everywhere, watching, awaiting. Juliane swallows hard, her throat dry despite the humidity. She looks down at herself. Her dress is torn, her body is battered, and on her feet only one sandal remains, the other is gone, lost somewhere in the sky during the fall. A small detail, but in this environment it matters. Every step she takes will be against sharp branches, hidden insects, and uneven ground. Every step will hurt. She tries to call out. "Mama." Her voice is weak, barely carrying beyond the trees around her. She tries again, louder this time. Nothing. No response. No movement. Just the jungle answering with its endless noise. Time passes, minutes, maybe longer. She doesn't know. Her thoughts are slow, clouded. But that wasn't the worst part. She has nothing. No food, no water, no supplies. No way to call for help. No idea where she is. Somewhere beneath miles of dense jungle canopy, in one of the most remote places on Earth. Even if rescuers are searching, they won't see her. The trees are too thick, the forest too vast. She could be just a few hundred meters from help and still be invisible. Her breathing slows as the reality settles in fully now. This isn't a matter of waiting to be found. No one is coming. Not yet. Maybe not ever. And for the first time since she opened her eyes, a deeper fear begins to take hold. Not the fear of the fall, not the fear of the crash, but something far more dangerous. The fear of what comes next. The jungle doesn't care that she survived. It doesn't pause. It doesn't soften. It closes in. Heat, insects, noise, constant, suffocating. Juliane Koepcke lies there, injured, disoriented, but not without something most people would lack in this moment. Knowledge, not learned in a classroom, but in the heart of the Amazon rainforest itself. Her parents weren't just travelers, they were scientists, researchers who had spent years studying this exact environment. As a child, Juliane had followed them through dense vegetation, listened to their instructions, absorbed their warnings. And now those memories begin to surface, clear, practical, urgent. Her father's voice, steady and certain. If you are ever lost in the jungle, do not wander aimlessly, find water, because water means direction. Small streams lead to larger streams. Larger streams lead to rivers. And rivers lead to people. It's simple, but here, simplicity is survival. Juliane forces herself to move. Every motion hurts. Her broken collarbone burns with each shift of her body. Her legs tremble as she pushes herself upright. For a moment, the world tilts. She nearly collapses again, but she steadies herself against a nearby tree. Breathing slowly, focusing, listening. Through the constant noise of insects and distant animal calls. There's something else, faint, subtle, a different sound. Water, not loud, not rushing. Just a soft, irregular trickle somewhere beyond the trees. She turns toward it instinctively. Each step is slow, careful. The forest floor is uneven, tangled with roots and hidden drops. With only one sandal, every step sends sharp pain through her foot. But she keeps moving, pushing through branches, parting leaves, following that sound like it's the only thing that matters, because it is. Minutes pass, then finally, she sees it. A narrow stream cutting through the jungle floor, shallow, slow-moving, but real, alive. Juliane kneels beside it, her hands shaking as she touches the water. Cool, clear enough. She drinks carefully, instinct guiding her not to rush. The relief is immediate but brief, because water solves only one problem. There are many more. She sits there for a moment, staring at the stream as it disappears between the trees, and a decision begins to form, a dangerous one, because staying here means conserving energy, waiting, hoping someone finds her, but moving means stepping deeper into the unknown, further into a jungle that could easily consume her. She looks around again, no signs of rescue, no sounds of search teams, nothing but endless forest in every direction. And then the question settles in, clear or unavoidable. Would you stay in one place or risk moving deeper into the jungle? For most people, hesitation would follow. Fear would take over. But Juliane doesn't have that luxury, because she understands something critical. Staying still here doesn't increase your chances, it erases them. The jungle hides everything, even survivors. She looks back at the stream, then ahead into the dense, uncertain path it carves through the forest. And without fully knowing where it will lead, she makes her choice. She stands and begins to walk, following the water, step by painful step, deeper into the Amazon, alone, injured, uncertain. That decision would later save her life. The deeper she walks, the less the jungle feels like a place, and the more it feels like something alive, watching, testing, resisting her every step. Juliane Koepcke follows the narrow stream as it winds through the dense body of the Amazon rainforest. At first, it seems manageable, but the jungle doesn't attack all at once. It wears you down, slowly, relentlessly. The heat builds first, not the dry heat of open land, but a suffocating wet pressure that clings to her skin and fills her lungs. Every breath feels heavy. Every movement drains energy she can't afford to lose. Her clothes remain damp, never drying. Her wounds soften, exposed. And then come the insects. Mosquitoes swarm constantly, drawn to sweat, to blood, to movement. They land on her arms, her face, her open cuts. She tries to brush them away, but there are too many. Each bite is small, but together they are relentless. Hours pass, maybe a day. Time begins to blur. Her body weakens. She hasn't eaten, not properly. Her stomach tightens, then aches, then becomes strangely quiet. Hunger shifts from pain to emptiness. At one point, she stumbles across scattered debris, pieces of the aircraft that didn't fall where she did, metal fragments, torn fabric, and something else, candy. Small, brightly wrapped pieces, miraculously untouched. She picks them up with trembling hands. It isn't much, but it's something. Sugar, energy. She eats slowly, making it last as long as possible. It's the only food she will have for days. The water she drinks is another risk entirely. The stream looks clean, but in the Amazon, appearance means nothing. Parasites, bacteria. Contamination invisible to the eye, but she has no choice. She drinks anyway, carefully, repeatedly, because dehydration will kill her faster than infection. And then things get worse. As daylight fades, the jungle changes, the sounds shift. What was constant during the day becomes something else entirely at night. Louder, closer, more unpredictable. Juliane finds a place to rest near the stream, too exhausted to go further. She lowers herself carefully to the ground, her body aching from the effort. And as darkness closes in, the forest comes alive. She hears movement. Not far away, branches snapping in the distance, leaves rustling nearby, low unfamiliar calls echoing through the trees. Animals she cannot see, creatures she cannot identify. The insects grow louder, an overwhelming chorus that never stops. Something buzzes close to her ear, Another crawls across her arm. She flinches, but doesn't move much. Moving too much wastes energy. But staying still means feeling everything, every sound, every shift in the darkness. And her mind begins to fill in the gaps. What is out there? What's watching her? What might come closer? Fear settles in, but not as panic, as something quieter, deeper, more constant, isolation. She is completely alone, no voices, no human presence, no reassurance that anyone is searching us or even knows where she is. Shock lingers at the edges of her thoughts, dulling everything slightly like a thin barrier between her and reality. But it's fading, and as it fades, everything becomes sharper. The pain, the hunger, the fear, the understanding that survival here is not about strength, it's about endurance, minute by minute, step by step. Night stretches on endlessly. Sleep comes in fragments, brief, shallow, constantly interrupted by sound. And when morning finally arrives, there is no relief, only another day, another test, another stretch of jungle waiting to see if she will keep going. By now, the jungle is no longer something she's moving through, it's something she's fighting. Every step forward costs more than the last. The stream she follows, once a guide, becomes an obstacle. It twists, narrows, forces her to climb over fallen branches, step through thick mud, and push past tangled vegetation that claws at her skin. Juliane Koepcke is slowing down. Her body is beginning to fail her. The broken collarbone grinds with every movement. Her cuts, once just painful, are now changing, swollen, red, alive in a way they shouldn't be. The constant moisture, the dirt, the insects. It's turning her injuries into something far more dangerous than the fall itself. She stumbles, falls to her knees beside the stream. For a moment, she stays there, breathing hard, exhausted. The thought creeps in, quiet but persistent. Stop. Just stop. Let the jungle take over. No more pain, no more walking, no more fighting. But something inside her resists it, barely, but enough. She forces herself back up, keeps moving, step, pause, step, pause. Time loses shape again. The days blur into one continuous struggle, and then she notices it. At first, it doesn't register, just a strange sensation in one of her wounds, a faint movement, a subtle shift beneath the surface of her skin. She looks closer, and what she sees stops her completely. Maggots inside the wound, feeding, moving, alive. For a second, her mind refuses to process it, but there's no denying it. The infection has begun. And in the Amazon, infection doesn't stay small. It spreads, it consumes, it kills. She pulls back slightly. I'm breathing faster now, not from panic, but from realization. This is no longer just about walking. This is about time. Her body is turning against her. If she doesn't act, she won't last much longer. But she has nothing, no medicine, no tools, no way to treat it. Only what the jungle gives her and what she remembers. Fragments of knowledge, survival lessons from years ago, not fully formed, but waiting. Somewhere in her mind, she keeps moving, because stopping now means giving the infection time to win. The stream widens slightly ahead, bending around thick clusters of trees. She follows it, barely aware of how far she's gone. Her thoughts begin to drift, not fully grounded anymore. The exhaustion is catching up. The hunger, the dehydration, the pain. And then she hears it. A voice. Soft. Familiar. Her mother. Calling her. Juliane? She stops instantly, turns, listens. Nothing. Only the jungle. But she heard it. She's sure of it. She takes a step toward where the voice seemed to come from, then stops herself.
because another part of her knows the truth. That voice isn't real. It can't be. Her mind is beginning to fracture under the pressure. Hallucinations, a dangerous sign, but also strangely comforting. For a moment, she isn't alone. For a moment, she remembers what it feels like not to be. But the jungle doesn't let that feeling last. Reality pulls her back, hard, the pain, the heat, the movement beneath her skin. She looks ahead again, at the stream, at the endless path through the forest. And the question rises, heavier now than ever before. At this point, would you keep moving or give up? She doesn't answer it out loud. She doesn't need to.
Because her body answers for her. One more step. Then another. Still moving, still fighting, even as everything inside her begins to break down. And soon, she will be forced to make a decision so painful, so desperate, it will define whether she lives or disappears into the jungle forever. The jungle has become a weight she can barely carry. Every step is agony. Every breath feels stolen by the heavy, humid air. Juliane Koepcke is moving, but barely. Her broken collarbone flares with every movement. Her legs shake uncontrollably, raw and scraped from hidden roots and branches. The cuts on her arms and feet throb incessantly. The wounds with maggots crawling inside pulse with an almost unbearable heat. Her stomach is empty. Her body has stopped remembering what hunger feels like. Time has blurred into an endless or torturous stretch of green. The constant insect chorus and distant animal calls are no longer background. They are a soundtrack to her despair. Her mind begins to fray. She stumbles to the stream, kneeling beside it, head in her hands. Tears run down her face, not just from pain, but from fear, exhaustion, and overwhelming isolation. She remembers the horror in the eyes of the passengers when the plane exploded. She remembers the silence after the fall. And now, she realizes she is truly, completely alone. Her body trembles, her mind whispers that maybe it's over, that maybe survival isn't for her. She thinks of lying down on the jungle floor, closing her eyes, letting the world take her. And for a fleeting moment, she thought she was going to die. Right there. The thought is heavy, crushing, seductive in its simplicity. But then, the stream, the faint, glimmering line of water she has been following. She touches it with trembling fingers, cold, wet, alive. She swallows hard, and somehow, that small thread of guidance, water leads to people, water leads to civilization, ignites a spark. Her exhaustion is enormous. Her body screams for rest. Her mind wants to surrender. But she remembers, survival isn't about desire, it's about persistence, step by step, minute by minute, pain, hunger, fear. All irrelevant unless she moves. So she rises, slowly, painfully. Each step forward is a triumph of will over flesh. Her breathing is ragged. Her body wants to collapse. Her heart pounds, but she keeps following the water. The stream winds ahead, dark and mysterious. It promises nothing. It guarantees nothing except direction. And in that direction, she places all her hope. Alone, battered, and near breaking, she continues. One foot, then another. And in that movement, survival whispers back to her. The fight isn't over. Not yet. Not by a long stretch. The stream twists and turns like a living thing, guiding her deeper into the jungle. Juliane Koepcke is almost unrecognizable now. Her clothes tattered, 1 foot bare, skin bruised and scratched, hair matted, eyes swollen from sleep deprivation and infection. Every step is agony. Every branch that grabs her arms feels like a test. Can she endure just a little longer? And then, something changes. A break in the trees, a clearing. And there, partially hidden by foliage, she sees it. A small wooden boat, abandoned. Its paint is faded. Water has collected inside it. A shelter, perhaps a fisherman's spot, and signs of human presence. For the first time in days, hope surfaces. She staggers toward it, trembling, collapsing against the hull. For hours, she sits there, barely moving, watching, listening, but no one is there. The silence presses in on her. It's heavier than the forest at night. The insects drone, the stream burbles past, the wind brushes the leaves, but no human sound. She wants to scream, she wants to collapse, but exhaustion, hunger, and pain anchor her to the ground. She curls into herself, resting against the boat, listening to the water, praying it's a sign of civilization nearby. Hours pass, the sun moves across the sky, golden light filtering through the canopy. And then a faint sound, voices, distant, indistinct, but human. Her ears strain. She rises, almost falling again, trembling with disbelief. She calls out, weakly at first. "Mama, Papa, help!" The voices grow closer. She stumbles toward them, her energy nearly spent. 1 foot bare, cuts oozing, body shaking with pain and shock. Then she sees them. 3 men, carrying machetes, working along the riverbank. They freeze, they stare. Then one speaks in broken Spanish. "Niña! Niña!" Juliana collapses against them, sobbing, exhausted beyond reason, unable to speak for the overwhelming relief flooding her body. They lift her gently, supporting her broken body. They notice the maggots, the cuts, the dehydration. They give her water, shelter, and warmth. The jungle recedes slightly as human voices surround her, speaking softly, guiding her. Her survival? Not suddenly, not in a moment of luck, but because she never stopped moving. Never stopped following the water, never let despair win. And as the men carry her to safety, she glimpses the river stretching ahead, leading to villages, roads, and eventually the world beyond the forest. For the first time since the crash, she feels the weight lift. The danger isn't over yet. She is still weak, infected, and vulnerable, but she is alive, and survival has finally found her. 11 days, 11 endless days of hunger, pain, fear, and isolation in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. Juliane Koepcke is carried along the riverbank by the villagers, her body trembling, bruised and scarred, every wound a testament to the struggle she endured. Her mind is still half in the jungle. Every sound, every movement, every shadow reminds her of the storm, the fall, the terror, the emptiness of being utterly alone. And they reach a small village. Her legs give way beneath her. And for the first time, she feels real warmth again, hands helping her down, voices guiding her to shelter, water, and food. She is weak beyond belief. Her voice is gone, swallowed by days without proper nourishment. Her eyes are wide, staring at faces that are kind but unfamiliar. It takes hours, maybe a day, before the news begins to filter in. She is the only survivor of the crash. The flight that took dozens of lives left her alone in the forest, untouched by the hand of death that claimed everyone else. The realization hits her slowly, painfully, and then another truth. Her mother, Maria Koepcke, did not survive. The woman who had guided her, nurtured her, been the anchor of her life, is gone. The grief strikes with the force of the jungle itself. Raw, immediate, unbearable. Tears come freely, uncontrolled. Shock mixes with sorrow. She wants to scream. She wants to curl up and disappear. But the villagers hold her, offer food, water, blankets. A sense of safety, fragile and new, begins to reach her. Her father arrives later, days after the rescue. His relief is immense, but tempered by grief. Juliane looks at him, broken, exhausted, yet alive. The threads of memory, the lessons from her parents, the warning about the airline, the instinct to follow water, come together now. She survived not by luck alone, but by every small decision, every scrap of knowledge, every act of stubborn persistence. And though she mourns deeply for her mother, she carries forward the most powerful proof of her parents' legacy. She endured, she survived the unimaginable, and from that survival, the story of courage, instinct, and human resilience emerges, one that will echo for decades to come. The jungle, the storm, the fall, the fear, all behind her now. She is safe, she is alive, and she is forever changed. Sitting in a small hospital room, wrapped in blankets, battered but alive, Juliane Koepcke stares out the window at the dense greenery beyond. The jungle she survived now seems distant, yet every memory is vivid. What saved her? Was it luck? Some would say yes. The improbable odds of surviving a 10,000-foot fall alone in the Amazon, the impossibility of it. But luck alone wouldn't have carried her through 11 days of dehydration, starvation, and infection. It wasn't just chance. It was knowledge, lessons her parents had taught her without even realizing it. Follow the water, stay calm, keep moving, step by step. Even when every nerve screamed to stop. Even when the hallucinations whispered that no one was coming. Even when fear threatened to freeze her in place. Her instincts, sharpened by years alongside biologists who understood this environment, kept her alive. Some debate the point endlessly. Was it luck or training, preparation, an unshakable will to live? Perhaps all of it combined, but one truth remains clear. She did not give up. She kept moving. She followed the stream. She survived when the forest, the storm, and the fall seemed determined to end her life. And in that survival lies the ultimate lesson. In the wild, knowledge is power. Calm is armor. Movement, purposeful, stubborn, unrelenting, is the only path to hope. For those who would face impossible odds, the story of Juliane Koepcke is a reminder. Human resilience, guided by instinct and training, can defy the unimaginable. Luck may have opened a door, but courage carried her through it. Now take a moment to imagine yourself in her shoes. Juliane Koepcke, 17 years old, alone, injured, starving, surrounded by the vast Amazon rainforest. Do you think you would survive 11 days like she did? Would you have kept moving when every part of you screamed to stop? Would you have made the same choices she did, following the water, facing exhaustion, fighting fear, step by step? Her story is a reminder of the strength of the human spirit, the power of knowledge, and the will to survive against impossible odds. If you find stories like this gripping, if real survival inspires you, teaches you, or simply captivates your imagination, subscribe now for more daily escapes into the most unbelievable survival stories.